Hello everyone, and welcome to the Forge. Today we're going to have Sisters of Battle once again versus the Orks. And so like the video if you like the video, share if you want to share, comment if you want to comment, and more to come. So let's get into the armies. Alright, so for my army, Orks, it is 1995 points of Orks. So my war boss is a beast boss on Squigosaur. Absolutely wonderful. He has the head Wappa Kill Choppa, making him a very strong anti-vehicle or monster character. I also have 3 war bosses. I wanted to bring Beast Snaga, but I just it didn't work out. I had to redo my list because I found out something wrong. Basically you can have 2 characters in a squad of 20 boys, but you can't do that in Beast Snaga, so that kind of ruined my plans. And so I'm breaking my usual limit and having 3 of one kind of model, 3 war bosses. They have nothing special about them. Then I have 3 pain boys to go with the 3 war bosses. The difference is one of the pain boys has the whatchamacallit, the follow me lads warlord trait, and then I have a Def Killer War Trike who has super cyborg body, so he's got a 4-up feel no pain. And then, as for troops, of course, I have 3 units of boys with sluggas and choppas, and their knob has a power claw. I have, for infantry, 2 units of Gretchen with their runt herd. I also have 3 units of storm boys, 5-man, and a knob with power claw. I have a unit of Burna boys, 8 Burnas and 2 spanners. Then I have the commandos, 1 unit of commandos with breacher ram, distraction grot, sluggas, all that stuff. And then I have 1 truck. And then finally, to round it off, 1 giant battle wagon with def rolla and all their stuff, ard case, everything, so as tough as possible. And that is my list.
Okay, I have a pretty standard sisters list. I have 3 exorcists in the backfield for a lot of indirect fire, 3 units of arcoflagellants with 2 rhinos, so I have a big midboard presence. They have 20 wounds, 4 feel no pain each squad, so they're pretty tough. Triumph of St. Catherine to go along with this Battle Sister squad, the red one with the Palatine and the Dialogus, who can turn any miracle dice into 6s and then use unlimited acts of faith within 6 of the Triumph. Very good. This green squad has an Imagifer with Saintly Example. That means when she dies, she gets an additional D3 miracle dice, and they'll likely be combat squatted in the emulator. I have a Castigator just for some extra firepower. Saint Celestine, a good rapid ingress threat, but it's also a great tar pit on the field. If she successfully reses, she's actually as tanky or more tanky than the Arcos are into a lot of matchups. And then just 1 2-man squad of Death Cult Assassins.
So for today's mission, we got Sweeping Engagement as for the deployment. We have Scrambler Fields, which basically in no position can you get onto objectives unless you walk on them. And then Ritual, which is we create our own objectives, and there's only 1 objective in the center at the start, so it's been an interesting mission. And that is our mission. Alright, so for secondaries, for Orks, I chose Tactical because I have some extra spare units, and I like to be able to generate extra CP if I don't like what I get. So, what about you? What did you choose?
I ended up choosing Fixed, Cleanse and Homers. Cleanse and Homers, that's kind of the classic fixed pairing for most armies. But actually on the Ritual, it's very good for Sisters. I was going to go Tactical, but then we rolled this mission. But with Cleanse, because the Ritual and Cleanse take place at the end of the turn, I can basically pre-cleanse a unit and then place the objective underneath them to get that Cleanse turn 1. So it is possible to max out Cleanse and Homers.
Yeah, we had to look up the rules to specify that. So these can be done simultaneously. So you can create an objective, and then when it appears, you already have your Cleanse going off at the same time. And according to the rules on page 9, the player whose turn it is gets to determine the order of these events if things happen at the same time, essentially. At the end of your turn, which events you choose it if it's your turn. So that is how we are playing it. The thing is, though, the unit that is creating the objective cannot be cleansing it. So that is one issue for my opponent, and that is our secondaries. So for deployment, my opponent lost the roll-off and had to deploy his units first, so me as the Orc player, my main goal was to stall as much as possible. So Gretchen went on to places, place some of my guys behind walls, place non-important units out to try to find out where his deployment is. Def Kill War Trike took the back position because I figure that's where he's going to be most useful. We also decided that first floor is blocked because I can't see anything from my view. So Beast Boss and Squigosaur got a safe spot. More grunts, or Gretchen got in on a safe spot and stuff like that. And so I tried to bait out and wait to see his good units and where his anti-tank was. And eventually I placed my commandos somewhere near the middle where I think they might be able to do damage or bait out. And the Storm Boys took equally wide positions on the right, left, and center. And then eventually the thing I was waiting for was where he put his anti-vehicle, so I could place my vehicles sort of opposite of that ish. And yeah, and that was my deployment and how I thought about it. What about you?
So I'm just trying to stay close to the center and move, objectives depending on how the game goes. I'm really hoping for a turn one. I hope I get turn one. I'm going to be playing this as kind of a counterpunch army to see what he can do, to survive the WOG and then, punch back. My exorcists are meant to do attrition damage over time, so this is actually one of the weaker matchups I have, but I think depending on how the turn one goes, I have some good play into it. I'm not too worried about the threat range being 20 inches away. We'll see how stupid I am for thinking that. But yeah, with the fixed objectives versus his tactical, some of the pressure's taken off of me because maybe he gets unlucky with a tactical that takes him somewhere across the board, or maybe I focus on wearing down his tactical units. That way he has to either choose secondary or primary depending on, how the game goes. But yeah, so I basically clustered up. Normally this would be a huge mistake if I was worried about a really strong turn one charge, but we'll see.
So, for the first turn, these guys are on the bottom. So, who goes first, who goes second? So, why don't you start? Who goes first, who goes second? What do you think?
Well, I definitely hope I go first. One of the good things about playing against Orks is that they have to declare the WOG at the start of the battle round. So if you go first, you can move knowing that they're going to be WOGing on their turn or not. So that's good. But also, just the way I played, I don't love being so clustered up, but I think I'm okay with being charged once or twice if he does go first. But ideally, I'd be able to go first and then really set up some screens. So yeah, definitely want to go first. If I go second, I guess we'll have to see what happens. I anticipate I'll be in combat, and I'll just spread out into my deployment zone from there, and yeah, we'll see.
As for me, if I go first or second, yeah, it really does depend on the WAS. So if I go first, I'm going to get 1 to 2 charge. So if I go first, I will move into positions for cover and prepare for a second turn Grand Wa. If I believe that your artillery or firepower could really do a number on me. You might be able to, but the way things are positioned, it's unlikely I will Wa first. If I go first, I could Wa and get 2 first turn charges, nearly guaranteed. Nearly guaranteed, like one of my units will easily get 15 inches of movement just for free, just cuz. And with relics and stuff like that and the stratagem. But even still, it's like the target pickings for them in combat are a bit slim. So if I go, what I would want to do, strategically, going second suits me better because I will counterpunch. If I go first, I will prepare for a grand charge. That's essentially it. So, but ideally, I think going second would be better. Your firepower, while is very strong and anti-tank, will have to move and lose some of its shooting ability and stuff. So, right now, I'm in a better position because of positioning for all the stuff. Alright, so that's what I think. So, I would want to go second. But I can deal with going first. So, ready to roll?
Yep.
Okay. And who? You put that.
I rolled a 6.
I rolled a 4. So you're going first, and I have to fix my tank.
Yeah. Okay. I think I moved it. It was over here, I thought, originally. The guy hit it.
All right. So, sisters, turn 1.
Okay, so for my movement phase, I just moved some of my army up to set screens for the bigger, juicier parts. 2 rhinos filled with Arcos moved up, and then I have Celestine who moved up next to the commandos. My emulator popped out this green Battle Sister squad with the Imagifer onto the middle objective. And other than that, it was just some slight repositioning. But so I'm getting ready to get charged and also set up for a double cleanse, deploy, and ritual. So in my shooting phase, I unloaded all 3 Exorcists and my Castigator into the battle wagon. It has 2 wounds left. Actually surprisingly resilient because with cover and its ability, it basically is always rolling a 3-up save. So I think I probably high rolled a little bit to get it to 2 wounds. But yeah, because I ended up using 1 miracle die for 5. The Castigator did also shoot his heavy bolters at these commandos, killing 3, so that was good. Other than that, I deployed homers with the green Battle Sister squad in the center. I cleansed with the Rhino and the Calidus, and I'm making an objective for the ritual with the emulator.
And that was the shooting phase.
For my charges, I just charged with the Rhino into these commandos. I moved it up a little bit to push my screening out, and then Celestine charged the same squad. Okay, the fight phase, kind of anticlimactic. The Rhino charged in, swung, missed everything. Celestine killed 2. The Gemini killed nothing, so overall I killed 2 guys on his commandos.
My commando swung. The Knob with his power claw swung on the Rhino. Did a wound, but he saved it. Then the Breacher Ram swung, completely missed. The Burna swung on the Celestia squad, or Saint Celestine, did nothing. And then one commander with the Choppa did 1 wound, and that was it for the fight phase.
So I was able to do a double cleanse because of the way I positioned the ritual, and then I got my deploy homers in the center of the field, so I was able to max out turn 1.
So for the movement phase, a lot of decisions to make. So I got cleanse and take the important objective, which my opponent created as the background one, and so. Yeah, so his one that his emulator is at, I get 5 points if I take it. That's probably not happening. Well, actually, it could happen, potentially. But, so, anyway. And, so, basically what happened is, so I have to have Cleanse on the center. So, Beast Boss with Squigosaur moved up. Might as well try. The guys on the inside, the battle wagon got off. Now, at the start of the movement phases, when I activated was Here We Go, which I can do to an Orc infantry. It doesn't say if they're in a vehicle or anything. So they popped out, and they basically get +2 to advance and charge. And they do have an extra 2-inch movement from the Pain Boy having the Follow Me Lads thing. So basically they got 11-inch movement from the battle wagon. They moved up. They're poised to do something. They get 2 extra inches to their charge, so see how that goes. My Storm Boys moved up. Oh, I gained an extra CP because my Gretchen passed the 4-up to get something from the home objective. My Orange Storm Boys moved in to intercept. My Yellow Storm Boys were able to make it to take the center for cleanse. Apart from that, my Red Squad moved up in support as reserve. Green Squad moved in to, I don't know, maybe see something, maybe something will happen. My truck moved up as well, and so we'll see what happens. Right. Orc shooting, what did you expect? So, the best part of it, the truck with 8 flamers fired into Saint Celestine. Did a wound to Celestine and killed off one of her little Gemini, so 2 wounds total. Then, the Beast Boss on Squig... Oh, no, wait, no. The truck itself fired into her, did nothing else. The battle wagon fired everything into her, did... Oh, wait, no, into the Rhino in front of him, did nothing. Then the Beast Boss on Squigosaur fired his thump gun into them, which was a blast, did 3 attacks, did nothing, did 1 wound, and he saved it. Then, the combined might of 28 pistols firing into Saint Celestine, did nothing. And then 1 war boss with his combi weapon was actually able to hit and do a devastating wound, and did a wound to her. And that was the shooting phase. Oh, and the Yellow Stormboy squad is doing cleanse in the center. So for charges, Beast Boss on Squigosaur charged his natural prey vehicles, the Rhino right in front. Like legit, that's his. That's what he does. Then the Blue Squad charge the green sisters and stuff. So essentially what's happening is because they have Here We Go, they have +2 to charge, so I rolled a 10. So that makes it a 12-inch charge. So I just wrapped around them and stuff. Yeah. And so my guys are poorly organized around his troops and stuff, so I have to fix that. But yeah, so essentially I wrapped around his squad, easy, just a massive amount. Yeah. And and then my battle wagon charges Rhino, made it. The Storm Boys charges Rhino, made it. My green squad with boys charged St. Celestine, needed a 9. They did not make it. And that was the charge phase. So, for the fight phase, we just decided to delete the squad of green sisters, because it was 60 attacks with sustained hits 1, and so, like, okay, removed him, but he spent Miracle Dice and CP to bring back their Magnifier back to life, but it did kill it. Then they consolidated into the Immolator, and I took the objective from him, so that's something. Also, my Beast Boss and Squigosaur swung on the Sauritos Rhino. They did 11 wounds to it. Or 11, more specifically, 11 devastating wounds. And my opponent managed to save just enough for it to live, so it has 2 wounds left. Then the Rhino on the bottom, the Storm Boy swung on it, did pretty much nothing. Then the Battle Wagon swung, did 3 wounds to it. And yeah, and that was the fight phase. And then he swung back with his Rhino, killed 2 of my orange Storm Boys on the bottom. The nearly dead Rhino swung on my Beast Boss, did nothing. His Immolator swung on my blue squad of Sluggas and did nothing. And that was the fight phase. Points. Attempting target. I got 5 points for that. And I got 5 for Deploy Teleport Homer in the center because it's tactical. So that went actually pretty well. Surprisingly, I did not expect that. But we'll see what happens.
Right, my Castigator popped into this terrain, so I'd be able to shoot these pink Storm Boys and still have line of sight to the middle. Both my Rhinos fell back, but not before dropping out the Arcoflagellants. The blue Rhino's Arcoflagellants moved to attack this red squad, and from the purple Rhino, the Arcoflagellants moved out to threaten this green squad of Orc Boys. However, his truck overwatched with all of his Burnas, and that was really strong. He killed 4.5 of them. Down the middle, St. Celestine moved to the middle to maybe charge these Storm Boys while also being in flamer range with the Commandos. Calidus moved left to do the ritual, and I brought in my Death Cult Assassins to cleanse it. Imagifer just moved more to the middle. Arcoflagellants Yellow moved up to attack the blue Boy squad, and then the red Battle Sister squad moved up to be in melter range of the Beast Boss and then in combat range of the blue boys. Other than that, I have my yellow Exorcist that peeked through, so now it has direct line of sight. Yeah, good movement phase. Okay, so for my shooting phase, I did have a really good shooting phase. My orange Castigator was able to finish off the big Orc truck. What is it again? The Battle Wagon.
Battle Wagon, yeah.
And then the heavy bolters were able to kill everyone but the boss knob in this pink squad here.
The battle wagon did explode.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the battle wagon exploded, killing 2 of his units. That was devastating. Really unlucky.
Mm-hmm. Barely did anything to my green squad, but
it did do 6 damage to my Rhino, but he lives barely.
Yeah.
The Exorcists, this red one and the yellow one in combination, were able to pick off the Orc truck, which did not explode. My red Battle Sister Palatine squad combo was able to fully kill the Squigosaur guy. Even though he's the Fort Feel No Pain, I was able to put in 18 damage because I was within melter range.
He had to use all his miracle dies, though.
Yeah, so I have 1 miracle die left. It's a 2. But I was able to do that, and then, yeah, other than that, I was able to just move up, clear a couple squads, and line up for some charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for my charge phase, in the middle over here, the yellow Arcoflagellants charged his blue boy squad. My red Battle Sisters also charged the blue boy squad. I wanted to charge my Triumph, but I realize now because she can't end her move in the wall, her base is so big, she's basically locked out of combat. Very unfortunate. Because I really didn't plan for that. I was really hoping for the 18 power sword attacks. Imagifer also, in the middle, the green guy made a long charge to get around the Arcos, to get in contact with the boys. Up here, the purple Arcoflagellants charged his green boy squad, St. Celestine charged his Gretchens, and the blue Arcos double charged his Gretchens and red boys. These three behind the wall, unfortunately, aren't in base-to-base with someone who's in engagement range because he was close enough to the wall, so I was kind of magic boxed out. So that's really good for him because his strikes back are going to be killer. But yeah, that's it for my charges.
Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's your go. Go first.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it, but that was my combat phase where I charged him on purpose. And his blue squad I was able to take down to just one guy in the characters, but he still out-OCs me on the point, and he wiped my red squad. Very good for him. Celestine did not make her res. She was destroyed by the green squad, came up. I did kill his Gretchens, so that's cool, I guess. And he wiped this Arco squad, so very good combat for him.
But a little more detail. So the blue squad up top, so they were killed down to the boss nob, the pain boy, and the war boss. So the nob swung, killed one guy. Then the pain boy swung, killed a few, and then used the Erdy syringe. And my opponent was an infantry. It hit on 3s, but because of war boss, it increased by 1 because the nob was still there, so I got the squad bonuses. So I hit on a 2, rolled a 4, and then I rolled a 6, which basically means I did 6 mortal wounds onto the squad, and and the pain boy basically killed the entire squad except for one guy, which the nob killed. And then the war boss swung on the palatine and just deleted her. And my opponent will bring the palatine back. And then after that, he only killed 5 guys in total with Celestine and all those flagellants on my red squad. And so I spent 1 CP for my stratagem Unbridled Carnage. And so basically what it means is my crits are on 5s to hit. So my sustained hits, I was getting 12, 15, or 12 and 13 sustained extra attacks each time. So 7 boys swung on Celestine, just the boys, deleted her entirely. Then 8 boys swung on the flagellants, deleted all but 1, and then the boss nob finished the last one. So the war boss and the pain boy didn't even get to swing, and so they consolidated, centered on the objective. Green squad, my opponent just picked up the models because it was just 5, and I had a lot of swings. And and then that was pretty much it. Oh, his emulator swung on my squad and did 1 wound to the boss nob, and the squad is still there. So that was quite a reversal. Yeah.
I was able to get a double cleanse with my emulator in combat on the point. He could still shoot, so I was able to cleanse with him. And then when Death Cults were able to cleanse the new objective I made. Deploy, I kind of knew I wasn't going to get it this turn because of all the combat in the middle. So overall, very worried about where the game's going. We'll see.
Yes. So, for the movement phase, well, first, the Gretchen on my home objective rolled a 4 up, so I got an extra CP. I got, I forgot what objectives. Can you read them for me? Yeah.
Secure no man's land and behind enemy lines.
Yeah, that was it. So, I got to take the center, which I think I already just did. And behind enemy lines, it's going to be a little challenging to do that one. Alright, and so essentially, red squad moved up to take the center. Green squad, because it's a wall, I can advance and charge, so they ran. I spent 1 CP for our boys to give them 2 CP to advance and charge. They barely moved with their run. Burna boys moved up towards the center. Def Killer Wartrike took the back objective in reserve. And then my 1 boss nob, Storm Boy, moved up towards his blue Sorotas Rhino. And we will see what happens. So for the shooting phase, the Burnas, 7 of them, fired at the Arcoflagellants in the center and killed like 3.5 of them. Then the red squad, with all their sluggas and shootas, shot at the Arcoflagellants and killed 1 and did a wound to 1. And then my blue squad, War Boss and his guys shot at the Dialogus, did absolutely nothing. And that was the shooting phase. For the charge phase, red squad charged the center, made it in easily. Charged both squads, or the flagellants and whatever the magnifier is. Then, green squad charged the immolator, rolled a 7, but I had +2 because of here we go. So, moved up a bit. After that, the Burna boys charged the Sorotas Rhino. Maybe he'll kill it. And then the boss nob, the last Storm Boy there, charged his other Rhino. We'll see what happens. Alright, so anyway, for the fight phase. So, red squad in the center. My opponent, because we're stressed for time because of life stuff, my opponent just lifted him up. Because there's no way they'd be able to survive all that anyway, so in the sake of time. The 2 units that were there were wiped out, and the red squad consolidated on the center. My boss knob swung on his blue rhino, did 2 damage to it. It almost survived, but he rolled the saves. Then my Burna boy swung on the Sorotas rhino. The reason why I did is because they have AP -2, and they did nothing to brought it down to 1 wound, but it'll live. Then my green squad swung everything they had into that immolator, and they were barely doing anything. Then the war boss walked up, and so he gets 4 additional attacks if a WA is called. And he got sustained hits, and so he basically just deleted the thing. He did like 13 damage to it. It was dead. And then because of that, it died, didn't blow up. They consolidated into the Exorcist on his home objective, which swung back and did nothing. And his battle sisters as well, they swung, and actually they killed 2. So I'm going to get behind enemy lines. Then my opponent just picked up his Dialogist, because there's no way he was surviving a war boss, at the very least in the blue squad. So I took that, well, I did have the objective, but I consolidated onto the objective. And that was the fight phase. So for points, I scored 10 primary. I then scored 5 for secure no man's land. And I was able to get the small amount of 3 for behind enemy lines, because I only had 1 guy behind enemy lines. And yeah, and that was my turn.
Okay, my purple rhino fell back to hopefully deploy next turn. My Death Cult Assassins just moved a little further onto this piece. My Triumph moved up. My Exorcist moved behind my blue rhino to cleanse. Castigator moved into firing range. Yellow Exorcist fell back to provide some support. My orange Castigator was able to shoot his Burner Boys, wiped the squad. My red Exorcist is going to cleanse the objective that the blue rhino will hopefully spawn. Death Cults over here hidden, they cleansed. My blue and yellow Exorcist teamed up to destroy his Pain Boy, the leftover boy that was in the squad, and then his war boss. I was able to use a 6. I wounded the war boss once, but because he failed his invuln, I was able to use a 6 on a miracle die to take him out.
And that was it.
My charges, my Triumph, I used a 5 on a miracle die to make it in. I made it. My Palatine, I also used a 5 on the miracle die to get in there. Unfortunately, she failed, so I CP rerolled, used another miracle die, and made it in. Okay, so over here I had a pretty successful fight phase. I was able to eliminate his blue squad in shooting, so I was able to charge my Triumph and Palatine into his green squad. Everyone's dead but 1 boss knob. My Palatine used precision to wipe out his pain knob, or his pain boy, so they didn't get to feel no pains. Then the Triumph was able to kill, pretty much every other boy other than the boss knob, so he just has the boss knob and war boss left. The Exorcist and the Battle Sister Swift.
Yeah, and my war boss swung on the Triumph St. Catherine, just did a few wounds and stuff, and that was about it. Yeah, and my boss knob swung on his Rhino, did nothing, and that was it.
I was able to max out my cleanse, deploy homers, and get 1 primary objective for my Death Cults. Have been doing really bad on primary, but I'm hoping to come back in the later turns.
We have to call it there because wives are coming home in 1 minute, and after 20 minutes of Theory Hammer arguing tournament meta rules debate for someone who doesn't care if he wins or loses, but there's no way he could lose, we eventually decided to call it a win in my thing because of the cards that I would draw and with Guilty Knowledge. So Orks are going to basically theoretically win the amount of chess movements that could happen. It's because of time. So Orks win is simply just because of, I'm not going to get into it. He moves here, I move there, I kill this, I have 1 CP for this, I have high mobility, I have guys who have ridiculous OC, he's slow movements, can't really hold up to there and stuff. And so it's basically like he maxes out Cleanse, he almost maxes out Homers, he gets a lot, like 3 objectives, maybe, possibly, but in the end, it's like Orks can basically go on top.
The thing is, I had a lot of material, whereas he really only had 3 squads, one of which is a Gretchen squad, so it's like I had like 7-8 units left, so I could, if he moves to the right side of the board to contest, I move to the left. If he moves to the left, I move to the right, so I could pretty much guarantee max primary and secondary for my remaining 2 turns. However, he was already at a substantial lead, so when we theory hammered kind of like a best case scenario, we ended up tied, with the exception of he would have Bring It Down on his last turn, and then depending on where I happened to move my Castigator, he would either be able to kill it or not. So it would have been a battle of a lot of microing. So it would have been very close. I'm not sure who really would have won, but he definitely has the edge.
Possibly, I could have denied 5 more primary for him because I could have gone left, use Here We Go, gone right, and take another objective from my opponent, denying 5. And so that's why we're going like, oh, you see, there it is. There's that. I'm not competitive. It doesn't matter to me. But okay, whatever. So Orks are going to theoretically win. One day we'll have when wives are not coming over, or when you knew about this game like 4 days ahead.
You were an hour late. It's not my fault.
An hour late. I showed up on time. Daylight savings time does not count.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. So MVP, LVP. So essentially, LVP Squigosaur. It failed to kill the Rhino, and then it got deleted. However, the reason it got deleted was because, like, straight up, he used every kind of miracle die to do max damage. Meltas doing 6, 18 damage here and there. And so he got hit hard, but he died hard. So
yeah, it was 24 damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, that took to kill him. So then MVP. Burna Boys, pretty good. They actually had a big effect on the game with their overwatches and stuff. Killed a lot of flagellants, which really did keep my units alive to be able to do tremendous damage. So they did a lot of damage early game, which really helped my guys survive longer. But true MVP is going to have to be the combo of... Oh, wait, wrong one. Pain Boy somewhere. Pain Boy, and War Boss, and the Slugga Boys. These guys were the tar pit tank damage dealers. From 1 CP giving them to crit on 5s, to having unit-wide 5-up feel no pains, +1 to hit from the war bosses and stuff like that. Like, they just picked up units. They just deleted them. Absolutely. Like, 7 Orc Boys completely deleted Celestine and her squad with these effects of the war boss and stuff. Super tanky, super long, did incredible damage. They're very useful. So, absolute MVP because the units killed the most, did the most. So, yes, I'll use them. So, what about you?
So, my LVP was Celestine, who, even though she did a great job early game on those commandos, did not successfully resurrect on a 2-up. And for that reason alone, she is a complete failure. Thanks for nothing, Celestine. Because she's like a really great mobile tar pit, and she was locking up the center of the board. So if she came back, she would have essentially locked up movement for two of his units. That would have been really great. For the MVP, I'm just going to choose my Exorcists in general. They were able to rain down some really good focused fire, popped his truck, popped his battle wagon, and just was able to do a lot of damage consistently over time. So they never didn't do a good job. They definitely made their points back. Just the ability for me to shift my focus to different parts of the battlefield with the indirect is really valuable.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did great.
And that's MVP LV. Alright, so overall thoughts on the game in Orks. Orks are fun, surprisingly fun, trying to learn how to use them. But as far as the game goes, probably I think the biggest mistake that I made, well, first off, overestimating the boss knobs being able to kill vehicles. That was the first thing. I had a spot of bad luck when my battle wagon blew up and killed my commandos, my knobs here, because that's 2 highly mobile units. The commandos could have gone over here, killed the Calidus assassin or the Death Cold assassins, or the knobs could have easily, or the Storm Boys over here could have killed them. I mean, there's just 2 Death Cold assassins, and they have like 30 attacks with those few guys or something, or maybe 15, but still. So that was a huge blow, unlucky blow, and a bad decision I made was up here. So my Art as Nails is 1 CP, but the first time I used it, my opponent basically vec'd it and made it cost 2 CP. And I was thinking, like, okay, the Triumph is not the strongest in damage. He has the Sisters, the Immolator, and stuff. So instead of interrupting, I will make my guys so tough, and so that in the end, at the battle, I'll have more guys, and so the next turn I'll have more guys to swing with. It did not go that way. I should have interrupted, because after he killed the Pain Boy, he deleted 5 of my Orc Boys, and so I straight up should have just interrupted, and I could either almost, actually I could have killed the Palatine for sure, or wipe out the green squad. I should have killed the Palatine and do a ton of damage to the Triumph. So that was a bad call on my part. But apart from that, Squigosaurus cool, but he needs more support, and my opponent is... Exorcists are really just a difficult thing to deal with. They should get more points, nerfs, increase the price. Because, like...
I don't think so.
I think so. So what about you?
They are the best indirect in the game, for sure. I think that's the consensus. Not only they're less expensive than some, but like their damage and the ability to feed Miracle Dice is crazy.
Yeah, they're basically just shooting meltas across the board, 36-inch range, and all their buffs. And they just don't have to move, and they basically ignore all the penalties. So, yeah. So they're very strong. So what about you? What did you think of the game?
Oh, one other thing extra do is they give +1 leadership within 6 to infantry, which a lot of people don't know. But yeah, it's really good.
Never once came up. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's ever come up. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game. I definitely, I mean, it's one of those things where with the Pain Boys, I didn't realize they gave the squads a 5-up feel no pain. I probably, next time I play something like this, I'm gonna want to save CP to be precisioning them like as much as I can, because that's just on a squad of 20 boys. It's insane because of the amount of tax during the walk. So I think that is what takes them from good to great.
Well, actually, you know what I could have done? I could have swapped out the Pain Boy with a Mech Boy and give him a 5-up invuln. So, permanently.
That also could have been good. But the WOG did give them the 5-up invuln. So
yeah, so...
I mean, it's just... But regardless, the I think definitely precisioning them out in the future will be key. I thought, to be honest, turn 2, I was like, you're kind of screwed, because I was able to do the things I wanted to in terms of I was able to get 3 charges from 3 units of Arcoflagellants. And to me, against Horde combat armies, that's my one like ace in the hole, because I charge into you with 60 attacks, hitting on 3s or 4s, sustained hits, strength 5 twin linked, and every damage, you know, is a dead guy. Like, that's really good. And
you killed between 3 and 7 on 2 different squads with that.
I know, that's the thing. The feel no pain took it over the edge, because the 5-up armor save, whatever, but a 5-up and then a 5-up, you know, it's a lot tougher. And so then obviously on your swings back, you completely murdered me. And so the board looked really different on the end of your turn 2.
Yeah, you charged me. That was the mistake.
No, because, oh yeah, in my turn 2, I charged you, killed some stuff, but then you nuked everything in combat, and then Celestine didn't get up. So then it was like, oh crap. You know, all my combat stuff is dead, essentially. Even my Palatine squad, they attacked, same thing. I thought I would completely nuke that squad, because there were 60 attacks plus the Palatine squad, and still did not do it, and you were able to clap back and nuke the squad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know if there were any necessarily tactical mistakes, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird when you play a matchup like this, because like there's so little space on this deployment. I want to stay as far away from you as I can and put out a line of screeners to kind of just eat the first charge and then counterpunch. Yeah. And so I was able to do that. Had I gone second, it could have been suboptimal, to say the least. But yeah, when you have this many vehicles, it can be kind of tough. I considered putting the Castigator in reserves. I'm glad I didn't, because he was able to get just free firing lanes from the first turn onwards. So yeah, it was a good game. I think I don't think either of us really made any mistakes per se. Maybe you.
I made the one I obviously did. Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was just a good game. We were both getting the moves we wanted. We were both rolling pretty okay. I think it's just one of those things where I mean, yeah, the Orks were stronger than I thought. I mean, and still, I mean, I assume you didn't expect me to nuke your Squigosaur, so there was a lot of back and forth.
Well, I knew you were going to aim for him, but I did expect for him to survive better with hard as nails, -1 to wound. And
yeah, take more shots, stuff like that.
Yeah, like, he's toughness 10, 5-up invuln, 4-up feel no pain. I mean, come on, like,
Yeah, but me being able to use any 6 Miracle Dice to force through 24 damage, that's pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, and so, but apart from other things, the only thing I did not expect, so I expected if you went first for you to try to sheepishly move out and take a space and stuff. I didn't expect you to basically throw yourself at me. That was the one thing I didn't expect. Because I was expecting to hit your backline here on my second turn with a brick of 20 men. And so you screen that out. And my Death Trike, I mean, the Storm Boys died. I probably should just save them, never use them to fight. The Death Trike, his job was, if you got anything behind my lines, he would run out and kill them. Because he has 12-inch move, and assuming that it was during my second turn or during a WA, he gets an auto advance 6. So 18-inch move, and then 2d6 charge, so like he was the backline protector. And he had a 4-up, feel no pain, because I gave him a super cyborg body. So he was my back, just in case things went south. So yeah, a good try to test a lot of things. I can see why Orks are still very strong, just the basic poise, but they're ran with a lot of trucks that just go around and just drop troops and stuff and shield units and stuff like that. But I do love the Burna Boys in the trucks trick. Very fun, very nice. Commandos, ultimately disappointing though.
Yeah. I think if I were you, I'd probably get rid of the War Trike and replace it with more trucks maybe, or just something similar.
So the reason he's there is because I literally got stuck with like, okay, I have 90 some points, or I had basically 90 points to use, 90, 95, and so like I couldn't fit another squad or anything else in, and so I was like, so this was literally it. So it's
he does seem strong. It's just tough though when you have points sitting in the backfield not doing anything.
Well, he was my insurance. He was insurance in case of coming in the back, because if he so if your Calidus was, so he was supposed to be right here. And so if your Calidus came there, he was just going to just bonk her to death.
True.
And so because of the Storm Boys dying so much, I had to put him on holding the objective. And so basically, Storm Boys are great, but they really should have been just hiding and waiting and just doing objectives. So Storm Boys, 85 points for this very mobile. They can advance and charge without WA. So that's something important.
Oh,
yeah, of course, they have to take Hazardous, but like...
Still.
Yeah, but still. All right, so overall, it was a fun game. It was an interesting game. That Orks win, baby. First win. All right. All right, we don't know what we're doing next week. Actually, might be Kill Team because of time restraints. But yeah. So like the video if you like the video. Share if you want to share it. And more to come. Bye.